The Committee on Rules is called to order. The time is exactly 1:05 in the afternoon. For the record, today is Monday, June 21st, and I'm going to ask the Committee on Rules Director Maravilla, please take roll call of the members here this afternoon.
Chairperson Vice Speaker Barnes.
Gagia,
Vice Chair Legislative Secretary Shelton.
Juanes Hafide.
Speaker Terlahi. Senator Nelson. Senator San Augustine. Senator Ragel. Senator Pito Terlahi. Senator Perez. Senator Blas. Senator Torres. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Jesus Masi, Madam Director, at this time, does the chair hear a motion to excuse members not present? Vice Chair?
I move to excuse members not present.
On that motion, are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Does the chair hear a motion to ratify the Committee on Rules meeting minutes from May 19, 2021, which can be found on the Google Drive folder for this meeting titled 01 Meeting Minutes?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that we accept the minutes of May 19th, 2021. Subject to any corrections, technical and administrative corrections.
There's been a motion by Secretary Shelton and seconded by Senator San Augustine. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. At this time, we are on item number 4, document tracking by our legislative secretary. You may proceed with your report.
Sedus Masi, Madam Chair. Hafide colleagues, and good afternoon. The Office of the Legislative Secretary hereby reports the following as of today, June 21st, 2021. Appointments by Imaga Hagen Guahan. There are 53 appointments submitted by Governor Lulian Guerrero. The status of these appointments are as follows. 1 appointment confirmed during the February 2021 session, 14 appointments confirmed during the March 2021 session, 8 appointments confirmed during the April 2021 session, and 7 appointments confirmed during the May 2021 session, with a total of 30 appointments confirmed by e-legislator in Guahan to date. Of the remaining 23 appointments, there are some pending confirmation. 1 appointment has been withdrawn, and none have extended beyond the authorized 90-day term limit. The legislature has received 14 zone change applications. 3 have been approved by the governor, and the legislature has received 2 departmental agency rules and regulations at this time. Sedus Masi, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Legislative Secretary. Next item on the business is the ratification of bills. The referral of bills and appointments are indicated each of the corresponding logs, which can be found on the Google Drive folder at this meeting titled 03 Legislative Items and Logs. Does the chair hear a motion to ratify the referrals for bill numbers?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that we approve the referrals of bill number 140-36LS through 155-36 COR.
Is there a second? It has been moved by Vice Chair Legislative Secretary Shelton and seconded by Senator San Augustine to ratify referrals of bill number 40-36LS through bill 155-36 COR. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, Motion carries. We are now on the referral of appointments. Madam Vice Chair, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, and I move that we approve the referral of appointments that can be found in our appointments log.
Thank you very much. Is there a second? So moved by Senator Pito Chirlahi and motion by Vice Chair Secretary Shelton to ratify the referrals of executive appointments. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Does the chair hear a motion to ratify referrals of resolutions?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that we approve the referrals of resolutions found in our resolutions log.
Is there a second? So moved by Senator Senator Pito Chirlahi. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. We will now move into the consideration of items eligible for the placement on the session agenda. Members, the committee reports for the following items have been duly filed and met committee on Rules Committee report deadlines on June 16th, and they're listed with here. I want to say is Bill 93-36, Bill 99-36 COR, Bill 108-36 COR, Bill 109-36 COR, Bill 121-36 COR, Bill 134-36 COR, and Bill number 136-COR. The nominations that have been cleared is the appointment of Edith C. Pangilinan to serve as the President of the Guam Housing Corporation with the recommendation to do confirm. I will yield at this time to the Vice Chair, Legislative Secretary, Vice Chair Shelton. You may proceed.
Siduous Masi, Madam Chair. I move to place on the session agenda Bill number 93-36 LS as amended by the Committee on Health, Land, Justice, and Culture, sponsored by Tina Rose Muña Barnes and James C. Moylan, an act to repeal Section 29168 and 29169 of Chapter 29, Title 21, Guam Code Annotated, relative to eliminating the requirement that any deed or instrument conveying registered land and trust upon condition or upon limitations contain the words "with power of sale" in order to empower the trustee or transferee of such registered land to deal with the same without court order.
Is there a second? Yes, it is. It's good. 93 clear? It's cleared. It's green. Green? Blue. Okay. And there has been a motion made by the Vice Chair and seconded by Senator Pito. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Vice Chair, you may proceed.
Siduous Masi, Madam Chair, and I move to place onto the session agenda Bill number 99-36 COR, sponsored by Tina Rose Muña Barnes, James C. Moylan, Jose Pito Chirlahi, Joe S. San Agustin, Amanda L. Shelton, Clinton E. Rigel, Frank Blas Jr., and V. Anthony Atta, an act to add Section 90.300 to Chapter 90 of Title 9 Guam Code Annotated, relative to granting indigent inmates the ability to acquire their constitutional right to legal representation, creating the Anafa Malik for Inmates Fund, and to cite this act as the Anafa Malik for Inmates Act of 21.
Is there a second? There has been a second by Senator Pito Chirlahi. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Vice Chair, you still recognize.
Siduous Masi, Madam Chair. Lastly, I move to place Bill number 134-36 COR onto the session agenda as amended by the Committee on Economic Development, Agriculture, Power and Energy, Utilities, and the Arts, sponsored by Clinton E. Rigel, Tina Rose Muña Barnes, Joe S. San Agustin, Jose Pito Chirlahi, V. Anthony Atta, Tello T. Taitagui, and James C. Moylan, an act to amend Section 60354 of Article 3, Chapter 60, Title 5, Guam Code Annotated, relative to removing the minimum acreage for protection of farms.
Is there a second to that motion? Second by Senator Torres. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none. Motion carries. Senator or Vice Chair, Senator Shelton, you still have the floor on yours. Anyone else? For you. Okay. Speaker Teresa Lai, you are recognized, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move to place Bill number 136-36 COR as amended by the committee, introduced by myself, Teresa M. Terlahi. It's an act to amend Section 7120 of Chapter 7, Title 7, Guam Code Annotated, relative to the preservation and disposition of court records.
On that motion by Speaker Terlahi, is there a second? There is a second by Senator Joe San Augustine. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none. Motion carries. Speaker, you still have the floor.
Sus Masi. I'd also like to not move at this time, but just give notice. I'm having a hearing on June 23rd for 3 potential members to the Criminal Injuries Compensation Commission. If we get the committee reports done and cleared by court, I may be making a motion on that day to put those nominations up for vote.
Did you want to go ahead and mention the names?
Yes,
And
I
then I'll
will.
duly
They
note it.
are sorry, let me get back to those names.
Thank you.
If I could make just one more
Sure.
notice while I find the names. I'd also, again trying to put out a revised amended Bill 36-36. I'd like to just give notice again that we might make a motion to place that on the agenda once that is also cleared by committee and core.
Okay.
Bill 36-36.
Can you just read the title so I can
Oh,
duly
yes.
note it, please?
Yes. Bill 36-36 COR, introduced by Joe S. San Augustine. It's an act to authorize a commercial submerged land license between the government of Guam and Teleguam Holdings LLC, doing business as GTA, for the purpose of landing submarine cable at Alupang, Tamuning, Guam.
Duly noted. Anything else, Madam Speaker?
No, but if you could come back to me on
Yeah,
the names. I
definitely
will
on
be-
the names,
thank you.
definitely,
Zusma.
so we can make sure it's noted. Next, we will have Senator Sabina.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have anything to move at this time, but we are circulating the committee report for Bill 149-36. 149-36. As introduced, yes. It's an act to adopt the rules and regulations for the underground storage tanks as transmitted by the Guam Environmental Protection Agency. And
Duly noted, Senator Perez. Is there anything else?
so there are 3 other nominations that we're working to get also circulated. One is to the Guam Solid Waste Authority Board, Attorney Meenakshi Hemlani.
Okay.
The second one is Alice P. Sebastian Cruz, the Classified Employee Real Estate Licensing Division of DRT Representative for the Guam Real Estate Commission.
Duly noted.
And then the third one is Attorney Stephen Carrera for the Guam EPA Board of Directors.
Duly noted.
Right.
Anything else, Senator Perez?
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator San Augustine? Okay. I apologize, Senator. Can I yield back to the speakers? Speaker Terlahi, you're recognized.
Thank you. So the 3 appointees that we're having a hearing on June 23rd and hoping to place on the agenda are Dr. Lisa D. Flores, a member of the Criminal Injuries Compensation Commission,
Duly noted.
Ms. Denise M. Mendiola, also to be a member of the Criminal Injuries Compensation Commission,
Duly noted.
and former Senator, former Judge, and former Attorney General Elizabeth Barrett Anderson, also to be a member of the Criminal Injuries Compensation Commission.
Duly noted. Thank you, Speaker. I'll yield back before Senator San Augustine to Vice Chair.
Sidious Masi, Madam Chair, I wanted to mention for the record that I do intend to move Bill number 111-36 COR on the session floor. We're waiting for one more testimony, and I hope that we'll be able to report that out with the Committee on Health and Justice and work with the Committee on Rules to post it.
Do you read the, can you read
Yes,
the
of course.
title, please?
That is Bill number 111-36 COR, sponsored by Amanda L. Shelton, Mary Camacho Torres, Talina Cruz Nelson, Therese M. Terlahi, an act to amend section 120.60 of chapter 120, title 8, Guam Code annotated relative to requiring medical examinations of those charged with criminal sexual abuse or conduct at the request of victims.
Duly noted, Vice Chair. Thank you very much. Senator Augustine, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just for the note, we do have two bills that are pending clearance of core. One is Bill 7-36, introduced by Senator Tony Ada, and that is an act to add a new subsection 26203K38 to Chapter 26 and a new Section 28106I to Chapter 28, both of Title 11 Guam Code annotated relative to repealing the assessment of business privilege and use taxes on medical equipment and telemedicine technology. That's just so that it's so noted. Also, Bill 4-36, introduced 4-36 core, introduced by Senator Jim Moylan and co-sponsored by Senator Tony Ada, Senator Chris Drainus, and Senator Frank Blas. An act to add new section 24103C to chapter 24, title 11, Guam Code annotated relative to temporarily suspending the additional real property tax levy on improvements with a value of $1 million or more. That's pending now. It's just going through
Circular.
the...
Thank
Okay.
you. Senator, if I may, before you proceed, I will note for the record that Bill number 7-36 COR, as introduced by Senator Anthony Ada, has been submitted. The Committee on Rules did receive that packet today. It was resubmitted June 21st.
Correct.
And it is being reviewed right now, and it should be in. So I will duly note both of them, but note for
right.
the record that 7-36 has been received by the committee. Please proceed, Senator San Augustine.
All right. Based on the listing we have here, we have Bill 121-36 CR as amended by the Committee on General Government Operation, Appropriation, and Housing, introduced by myself, co-sponsored by you, Vice Speaker Tina Rose Muña Barnes. An act to add a new Chapter 83 to Title 12, Division 5, Guam Code annotated, relative to design, build, finance, lease, transfer, and maintenance of Government of Guam 21st Century Healthcare Center of Excellence, which shall be called the 21st Century Healthcare Center of Excellence Construction of Act 2021. I only ask, Vice Speaker, that if it is added onto the agenda, it'll be the last one addressed because we will be going into committee of the whole on this bill.
Thank you, Senator San Augustine. Is there a second? Is there a second to this bill? There is a second by Senator Mary Torres. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Senator San Augustine, you still have the floor, sir.
I only have one more, and that's it would be the appointment. Are we on the appointment level? Nomination?
Floor.
Okay, is the Committee on General Government Operations, Appropriation, and Housing hereby reports out the cabinet nomination of Edith C. Pangilinan to serve as president of the Guam Housing Corporation with a recommendation to do confirm. And
Is
to be
there a
added on the
second to
agenda.
that? Is there a second? A second to that nomination to Edith C. Pangilinan? There is a second by Vice Chair Shelton. Is there any objection? Seeing or hearing no objections, motion carries. Senator San Augustine?
Only that we have one more appointment, but that's pending a hearing. Thank you, Madam Vice Speaker.
Thank you very much. Senator Pito Kogwa Tata, si Josmasi. Senator Mary Torres, consigue mo na por favor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to place onto the session agenda Bill number 108-36 COR as amended by the Committee on Air Transportation, Parks, Tourism, Higher Education, and the Advancement of Women, Youth, and Senior Citizens. This is an act to amend Section 1302, 1308, and 1310B1A, and to add a new Section 1313 to Article 3 all of Chapter 1, Title 26 Guam Administrative Rules and Regulations, and to amend Section 4201C of Article 2, Chapter 4, Title 19 Guam Code Annotated, relative to streamlining adoption policies and procedures in Guam.
Is there a second to that? Second by Senator San Augustine. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Senator Teros, you're still recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also move to place onto the session agenda Bill number 109-36 COR as amended by the Committee on Air Transportation, Parks, Tourism, Higher Education, and the Advancement of Women, Youth, and Senior Citizens. This is an act to amend Section 13502A of Article 5, Chapter 13, Title 19, Guam Code Annotated, relative to expanding the Newborn Infant Safe Haven Act to include 911 service providers, and to further amend Section 13505 of Article 5, Chapter 13, Title 19, Guam Code Annotated, relative to the inclusion of adoption agencies in the chain of custody for infants relinquished under the Newborn Infant Safe Haven Act, and to require the distribution of materials attached hereto as Exhibits A through D, and to further require the adoption and transmittal of written policy and procedures in accordance with the Newborn Infant Safe Haven Act.
Is there a second? Vice Chair Secretary Shelton has, Secretary Shelton has seconded the motion as proffered by Senator Torres. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Senator Torres, you still have the floor. Is that it?
Yes, nothing further. Thank you.
Senator Frank Blas, there's nothing at this time. So, Senator San Augustine, I will recognize you.
Madam Chair, I'd just like to inform you that similar to what my other colleagues have mentioned, we've got hearings this week. If time permits, there are bills, a few bills that were introduced by Senator Tello that entertains the different villages name change. If time permits, and we're able to wrap up the committee report, we'll get it to the Committee on Rules and possibly introduce sometime next week. And then we also have another bill. There's quite a few bills that are being heard this week, ma'am. So if time permits, we'll wrap them up, get it to the Committee on Rules, and hopefully hear it this session and be done with it. Thank you.
I will duly note it on Senator Titagui's bill as it relates to the name changes on several of the villages. Thank you, Senator San Augustine. Anything else? If not, a draft session agenda has been provided to each of you, which can be found on the Google Drive. Session agenda, is there a motion to place the bills and resolutions to the second reading, file, and appointments under legislative concurrence? So moved by Vice Chair Secretary Shelton. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. With the placement of these bills and resolutions in the second reading file and these appointments under legislative concurrence, is there a motion to adopt session agenda? So moved. So moved by Secretary Vice Chair Shelton and seconded by Senator Frank Blas. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. And in accordance with the second standing rules, the agenda will be published within the next 24 hours. Colleagues, we are now in extension of remarks. Are there any extension of remarks by any of my colleagues? If not, does the chair hear a motion to adjourn? So moved by Vice Chair Secretary and Legislative Secretary Shelton. Is there a second? Seconded by Senator Blas. Are there any objections? Seeing or hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Have a good afternoon. God bless.